In the previous lesson, we looked at a couple very simple examples of functions in Python. The first example added two numbers together using the sum function, and then printed out the value to the screen. Many times, though, when working with functions, you're going to want to return a value of the function for use later in your program. In the case of the sum function, we could return the results of the sum instead of printing it out to the screen, and this would allow the user to do whatever they want with that value after they've called the function. So they no longer have to print it to the screen. They could instead use it in another calculation down the road. So let's see how to modify that function to return a value instead of printing it out to the screen. So I'm just going to recreate the function. So remember the keyword def, followed by the name of my function, and then the arguments if we want them. And in this case we do. We want to pass in two values which will be added together. So I'm going to use value 1 and value 2 separated by a comma, and then my colon. And once again I have to indent so that we know that this is part of the function block of code. And now I can do result equals value 1 plus value 2. And now, instead of printing the result to my output window, I'm going to return the result for use later in the script. To do this, I'll use the return statement, which is just the return keyword, followed by the object that I want to return. And in this case, that will be result. Now, I can call sum, and then pass in the two values I want to add together. So again, we'll do 4 and 7. And now when I execute this, we're going to see that nothing happens again. And that's because I first have to store the results in a variable if I want to use it. So here I'm going to call this my result. And then I'm going to assign the return value from the sum function to it. And finally, I'm going to print my result, just to show that it does now exist. So I can do print my result. Executing this, I'll see that my result is 11, and this is being displayed in the output window. For simple testing, if I've already defined my function, so it's stored inside of Maya, I can simply call the function itself, and this will print out the result, or the return value. Something of note is that if a return value is not specified, so here I'm just going to remove it, then I'm just going to update my function inside of Maya. Now when I call the sum function, you'll see that nothing is returned, or nothing is being printed out to my output window. But if I print my result, this now prints out none. So if a return value is not defined, it will always return a none object. One common error when you first start writing functions is that you'll forget to include your return statement. Or maybe you have a conditional statement, an if-else, that will return two different values. If you define a return value for one of them, but not the other, the one without a return value will return none. And this could lead to unexpected results. So do keep this in mind, and be sure to include your return statement if it's necessary. So we're going to do return result. Once again, I'll get my value of 11 being printed out. Now another thing worth mentioning at this point is that any variables that you define inside of your function block are local only to that function itself. That means result will not exist anywhere outside of this block of code. As an example, I can try to print out just result. When I execute this, I get an error saying that the name result is not defined. And that is because the scope of the result variable is local to this function.